Two interesting sets of votes today as the Republicans successfully filibustered the whole defense bill to stop the military from being allowed to repeal the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy. First, Jim Webb. Lots of reporting before the vote suggesting that even though he's a Democrat, he was going to side with Republicans on the filibuster. He did not do so. Senator Webb put out a statement today indicating his continued hostility to repealing Don't Ask, Don't Tell, but he said the defense bill should not be filibustered. Second, the two Democratic senators from Arkansas, Blanche Lincoln and Mark Pryor, neither on the national radar as likely party switchers on this vote, but both voted with Republicans to filibuster today. With no apparent sense of irony, both senators also putting out statements today exclaiming in passionate terms how much the defense bill deserved a debate. A debate that couldn't happen because both senators voted with Republicans to keep it from coming up for debate. Also, up is down, black is white, hippos are skinny, and Blanche Lincoln's going to win re-election this year. Joining us now is MSNBC's own Lawrence O'Donnell. The Last Word with Lawrence O'Donnell premieres Monday night at 10 p.m. Eastern here on MSNBC, about which we are all very, very excited. Lawrence, thanks very much.
But you excite so easily.
I do. I am excitable.
You're not the test.
It's nerves. You know, I have the nerves. What happened today? Republicans said they wanted to introduce amendments. Harry Reid said he wasn't opposed to that. And then Republicans voted against it anyway. What really happened?
Well, you know, each one of them is citing a different Senate tradition and protocol to support their position. There is a tradition of unlimited amendments in the Senate, but the way the Senate actually works is the leaders on each side make an agreement. Let's limit the amendments to this many, sometimes limit it to 100. I mean, it doesn't have to be some tiny little thing, but let's understand, us two leaders, what the roadmap is when we take this bill out here. Even if one party is opposed to it, they're going to allow the bill to go to the floor and then vote against it on the floor. And cloture normally was only necessary to get to a final vote in the old Senate. By the old Senate, I mean the Senate of 6 or 7 years ago.
So the key point, though, filibustering a bill to stop it from even coming up for debate,
that's the new trick.
To head off at the pass even the possibility of any amendments is new. Used to be that you filibustered it once you knew what the bill was.
Right, and one of the reasons you filibustered it is the amendment process didn't go your way. You know, you tried to get 6 or 7 amendments in there, they were all defeated, so you say, I don't like this bill, I'll do anything to stop it. To take the most controversial bill of the Clinton presidency, the most controversial bill of the decade of the 1990s was Hillary Clinton's health care bill, which when I was working in the Senate then, we brought it out onto the Senate floor. There was no opposition to bringing it out onto the Senate floor. We debated it on the Senate floor. The Republicans offered amendment after amendment. They, by the way, were very successful with those amendments.
Right.
They killed the bill on the floor through the debating process, which they handled very effectively. This is a new tactic. We're not going to even debate it. And I think Carl Levin made this crucial point to Senator Collins when she was saying, you know, we want to have more amendments. Levin said, okay, let the bill come to the floor. We'll start the amendment process, right. And then
that's what you say you want,
right?
Yeah.
And what Levin was doing was saying, in effect, hey, this is the way it worked for my first 20 years here, you know. and you're seeing that in today's Senate, the last few years in the Senate. You see people very passionately arguing that this isn't the way it works or it has worked, and they're right. But there is a new Senate that is this real obstructionist. You know, we're going to start the obstruction early. There's a laziness to this. What the Republicans get out of this by saying, you know what, we don't even want to waste the time debating on the floor. We want to stop the action now so we can rush off and make fundraising phone calls. Instead of let the bill go to the floor, you know, slug it out, try your amendments, and then do the cloture vote. They don't want to do any of the work that takes place on the Senate floor in what used to be the normal Senate.
And you see the old language being carried over into the new Senate, which makes them all look so stupid, which are these arguments. This deserves a debate. That's why I'm voting to not debate it.
And
what are you talking about?
We're at the point now, what's going to be interesting, if we do see a minority Democrat group in the Senate next year, I expect to see some of the same tactics employed by them that is employed, because that's what happens. There's this contagious across the aisle thing that happens, is once you see the other side play the game that way, and now it's your turn. It is very likely they will play the game that way. And so you'll see on some other set of issues exactly the same dynamics reversed.
I don't believe you.
Because the Democrats are too honorable for that.
No, because there's no such thing as a Democratic Jim DeMint. I haven't yet seen anybody who's going in there throwing that many bombs. But we shall see.
It doesn't even have to be that. I mean, I think it's something that the Democratic leader, be it Harry Reid or someone else, could actually lead the way McConnell does. I mean, McConnell is a reasonable man compared to DeMint, and McConnell is leading these things to do them this way. He's the one who's saying, let's change the Senate into making this a reasonable tactic to use. And the people who've been around for a while they can't really quite believe it's happening. And by the way, some of the Republican moderates don't want to play this game, but in moments like this, the party pressure is something that they simply can't deny. For Susan Collins, it's easier for her. She had a choice today between party and her own position, and it was easier for her to choose party when all the dust cleared.
The Last Word with Lawrence O'Donnell premieres Monday night at 10 Eastern right here on MSNBC. That's why we're all waiting with bated breath for that to happen.
I've got the best lead-in in cable television.
That's very kind of you, sort of. Thank you, Lawrence.